Hey everybody, how's everyone doing? Good. My name is John Van Brunt. I'm the Managing Assistant Director of Admissions. I work on the transfer side, and this is?
Hi, Steve Kubo, Acting Associate Vice President at Kane Ocean.
So we're here today to go over the Articulation Agreement process. I thought this was a great session for Professional Development Week because so many times I've reached out to probably a lot of people in this room saying, hey, we're doing an Articulation Agreement and I need X, Y, and Z from you. And a lot of times people didn't respond because they didn't know what I was talking about. A lot of times people responded with, why are we doing this? What is going on? Why are you making me do this, John? And who is John? So now you have a face to go with the name that's been emailing you this entire time. There's several reasons why we are doing this, and I want to get into that before we really get into the meat and potatoes of it, where we actually tell you what the process is and how to do those curriculum mappings. All right? So first and foremost, the main reason we do this is to increase enrollment. We are developing relationships with community colleges. We're building partnerships. Community colleges, they get ranked just like we do on graduation rates, on two-year graduation rates, things like that. So we want to help them succeed. And then if their students are succeeding and have a pathway to get a bachelor's degree, we want them to be able to go there and seamlessly transition to Kane. But more than anything, my bottom point here, it's establishing pipelines. It's establishing a way to recruit additional students and also qualified students. Students that are ready, prepared to get their bachelor's degree and enter here so you have qualified juniors. A lot of times I'll speak to several different department heads or faculty saying this student really isn't prepared for this course load because they didn't finish their associates or they didn't take the right courses at the community college or their previous school. This establishes that pipeline so these qualified students are coming to us. All right, and the best part is we get to talk to their faculty and talk to the community colleges to discuss what we want in a bachelor's degree candidate. All right, so we can help them develop how these mappings will work also. All right, now the other big reason for these articulation agreements is the governor-elect. With this quote here, he's committed to making community college tuition free for all New Jersey residents. All right, so if that is what is going out there to the public, we need to be able to combat with that as well and welcome those students once they graduate from the community colleges into Kane University. Now, how is that going to affect us? First, it's targeting our demographic. As far as freshman enrollment, as far as undergraduate enrollment, we put it this way. Students that are getting TAG and Pell, they were getting community college for free essentially anyway. That's the lower income families. They were getting community college for free anyway. We don't really talk too much about the upper class or upper income families. So the middle class families, this is who they're targeting. All right, and that's who we target. Okay, so our enrollment with freshmen is going to be a battle with some of the community colleges. Okay, so we have to have a way to still capture that audience. High school population is decreasing in New Jersey. So high school graduates, we have less high school graduates than ever. And that's going to continue trending in the foreseeable future. So that's something that we have to look into. If high school graduates are going down and more people are going to community colleges because we're offering that for free, this is something that we really need to consider. Maybe transfer is going to be, I don't want to say our bread and butter, but that's going to be our go-to move, all right? And our biggest export is college students. When students graduate high school, New Jersey sends out more students than any other state. We send them out of state. They're going to they're going to neighboring states too. New York and Pennsylvania are two of the biggest, but they'll go all over the country. All right. In particular, as we were talking before, New York, Pennsylvania, and Delaware are aggressively reaching out to our schools, including our two-year schools. One of the examples that I just found out, I think 2 days ago, Raritan Valley Community College actually has East Stroudsburg University on their campus offering bachelor's degrees and aggressively recruiting their students. And that's an opportunity for us because they're not that far from us. All right? So just a brief, I guess, a SWOT analysis, just to kind of say, where do we stand with this? So our strengths, we have a lot of strengths. Our location, the fact that we are all over New Jersey, the fact that we are in such a heavily populated area in Union, as many of you saw, I tried driving over here and got stuck in traffic. I was lazy, I work across the street. But with Union, with the Ocean campus, we have an ability to reach out to Ocean and Atlantic and Monmouth counties, and even go a little west from there as well. The new campus in Highlands, the online campus. There's lots of ways we can reach our students now. So that is one of our biggest benefits. We're going to be able to fill our classes, all right? That's something that some of us don't have that many problems with, but it's a guarantee that we are going to be able to continue. Like I said before, it's a pipeline. We're going to be able to bring in more students, all right? Our reputation at local community colleges. I work with a lot of community colleges. I talk to them every day. And we have a great reputation with them. They want to partner with us. They want to be our partners. When I say, hey, we want to do an articulation agreement, what programs? Twice now, from Union County College and Middlesex County College, they both said all of them. Every program we have, we want to articulate. We want to make sure there is a pathway for them to go from associate's degree to bachelor's degree. Let's see here. We're building with our alumni. Our flexible agreement, we're going to go into details about that, why our agreement is so flexible. We're the most affordable, comprehensive four-year university in New Jersey. Okay? So that's going to be one of our biggest benefits to go out and sell that as well. The shifting national focus, what I mean by that is if you turn on the news, if you hear anything about college, I know my Google News feed on my Pixel, I keep going through it, and constantly things about tuition and loans and people in crippling debt when they graduate college. That is such a focus that the nation's putting on college education right now that we need to address that. So if this is more affordable for students, this is something that can really help out. Colleges are looking to partner with us, and presence on the community college campus, that is a industry standard right now. we kind of have the model with Ocean County College and Kane Ocean. We're there on their campus, but this is something that's growing. There's lots of programs from four-year schools available at almost every single community college right now, and this is the growing trend, and we really want to jump on that so we can, I guess, capture that audience and really retain those students. All right. So there's a few things that's threatening us. That's a threat and a weakness, I should say. A few things that might be working against us. So first, it's the as I said, the four-year institutions, and we pointed out that Rowan University in the South as well.
And in particular, the reason we mentioned Rowan in particular, Rowan has taken over Burlington County, what used to be called Burlington County College and Cumberland County College. It's now called Rowan College at Burlington County, Rowan College at Cumberland County. And part of in that process now, the president of what is now our RCBC has said, we expect all our students to go to Rowan. So we're not going to allow any other four-year school to come on and articulate with us. We're not going to allow any other four-year school to come on and recruit our students. Our students are going to Rowan. So if more and more of those agreements tend to develop, obviously you have a shrinking marketplace of where you can get those agreements going. We are, yes, but we're not an exclusive relationship like we did not subsume Ocean County. So we are, Kane Ocean is an upper division campus located on the campus of Ocean County College so that they do their 2 years, finish their associate's degree, and then complete their final 2 years of the baccalaureate degree at Kane. So our agreement is we're not going to offer lower division classes there. They're not going to offer classes that we offer so that we are a non-competitive, mutually beneficial symbiotic relationship, whereas like RCBC is more of a we're taking over and this is how we're doing it, and we're running Rowan classes, and it's essentially become a Rowan campus, not a separate institution.
Yeah, and also is that campus with the STARS program too, like College of New Jersey, if you go to a community college, kind of community college, you know, the STARS program.
Yes.
Okay, so they can go into.
Ocean County College has the largest percentage of participants in the STARS program in New Jersey, and we get a lot of those students. Yes, absolutely.
So how does the RCBC relationship comport with them?
It's interesting. Lampet is to define transferability. If you're saying everybody's going on elsewhere, you've in effect legislated it by the fact of the school. The interesting side effect that's made some waves is Rowan is starting to do a 3+1 now, where they would do 3 years at the county college and then the 4th year at Rowan itself. So a lot of the other county colleges are starting to perk their ears up and go, we're interested in a 3+1 too. We'd love to do 3 years and let you do 1 year. So that's another, obvious threat that's coming along the way. So, but yeah, Rowan is really trying to change. We were the first with Kane Ocean, because that we're now in our 11th year. But other schools are trying to push the envelope, and Rowan is definitely one.
So just to touch on a few other threats that we might have, the length of this process, and I kind of look around, I see a lot of familiar faces that I've reached out to, and people say, so what do I have to do? And it's a long process to get these articulation agreements signed and get through this entire process. The main thing at hand is that we're going to do the training, and that's what today is a big part of, and I have this idea that now that we've done this training, we get it out there into the world and everyone understands the process, it's going to make this a little more seamless, all right? So that's why hopefully we can knock that one off the list today. Busy schedules. I've often had different faculty mention to me that they, how busy their schedule is and how they can't fit this in. They were busy before that, and then they got more things added onto their pile, and now this. So we totally understand that, and we're working on ideas of possibly moving forward with maybe someone who's dedicated to these types of processes. We're not quite there yet. Lack of training, redundancy of work. There's a few times people have mentioned to me that they did this exact same thing. They did the mappings about 2 years ago. Why are we doing this again? Nothing's really changed in our curriculum for that specific program. Why are we doing this? What's going on? Well, the purpose of it is we now have a new template. We now have a new curriculum mapping, I guess, map or chart that we're going to be using, that we're going to show you in just a few minutes. And this is going to be that living document, the thing that can change, and it's much more user-friendly. We can actually print them out and give them to students so they can follow that pathway. Also, we don't want the students to lose credits if they don't have to lose credits. We want students to get through the process and get their bachelor's degree. We don't want them to lose those credits for them. And also, full transfers, and Dr. Kubo was just mentioning that when he was answering the questions, but the community colleges want these to transfer into Kane smoothly. They don't want to lose anything. They want their full degree to come over, and some, sometimes add a little bit to it as well. So that's why we have to make sure that we put these on paper so there's no wiggle room, there's no, how do you put it, I guess, vagueness in how these work. All right.
And most importantly for the students, there's no vagueness for the students. So the students know if they take this, they're going to get, and this is exactly how much is left for them here at Kane. So they know what they've earned, how it's going to count, and what's left.
Perfect. Yep. So let's get into the process. Let's really dig in and see what we have to do first. So far, our community college partners, and these are people that we have current agreements with, people that we are, community colleges that we are currently working with to create articulation agreements. There's a few that are on the desk waiting to be signed off by their provost right now. Just to kind of mention a few, I believe Hudson County is on their desk right now. Passaic County, it's on their vice president's desk, just waiting for their approval so we can go with our next steps. There's a few that are ready to go. So the agreement, this is important. There's two parts to every agreement. So there's the legally approved, it's approved by the University Council, Office of University Council and Board of Trustees. That is just a basic template that I work with University Council, and they basically say, this is the template that you can use, just enter whatever county college that you're working with, enter their name and address in there, and you can move forward with that. That's the agreement that basically lays out exactly how the articulation agreement will be executed. Meaning, always in there is usually if someone's applying through the articulation agreement, we provide a fee waiver code to them. It will describe special admissions programs. We actually are going to be on a couple different community colleges' websites, and that's when a student applies to Union County College, it'll at the end, after they submit, it'll actually say, now would you like to go to Kane once you graduate from Union County College? That's pretty impressive because that's part of the agreement. That's what locks them into it so we can actually get onto their application. It's a great step. That's the agreement section. The second section is the curricular articulation. That's the maps that I keep talking about. That's how those courses, what their equivalencies are here at Kane University. All right? We have the template. Oh, they're living documents, meaning this is something that, when I said before, this is one of our strengths. We have a flexible articulation agreement. We have, once it's signed into effect, If we, Middlesex, I think we had 7 programs that we had at the signing ceremony. And that doesn't mean that that agreement is only good for 7 programs. We can add programs as we see need fit. If any of those programs, curriculums change at the community college or here, we can change those as well. It's a living document, meaning it's flexible, all right? When I bring that up to community colleges, they have these agreements with other schools. When I bring it up to community colleges, they go, wow, that's amazing. We thought we had to have them all done in one signing, and if you want to change anything, you have to do another signing, and it's a headache. So the community colleges are very impressed in the fact that we have this ability to make changes as we see need fit, all right? Good, so the mapping, all right? This all starts, so this is one of the first steps that everyone here would have to be concerned with, is when the mappings start, I'm gonna reach out to, I'll speak with the community colleges to determine what courses, I'm sorry, not what courses, what programs they want to articulate. I will reach out to the dean and any necessary parties with that information, okay? And what I mean by necessary parties, sometimes I'll reach out by phone to the dean or somebody else saying, hey, who's the best person to get in contact with to complete this program, all right? So if it's something in business management, a good example was that, I had a conversation and actually I was referred to Dr. Ree, who's in charge of business management, and I spoke to him, and he's working on the business management articulation agreement right now with UCC. All right, so I reach out, I send it out. There's a 2-week deadline on that, so 2 weeks to do the mappings. Now, the important part of this is you can do it on your own, or you can. I will get you the contact information for the counterpart at the community college. That makes life a lot easier if you can just communicate with your counterpart at the community college, because what's going to happen is you're going to get confused. Okay, is this history class apply here, or what is it? When do they take this class? How do they take it? Whatever. You can have that conversation with them. A lot of times people will send that question to me. I'm the admissions guy. I'm just kind of the middleman for all this, so I really don't know the answers to those questions. But making sure that we get you in contact with the right person, that's the most important thing. Okay? Yes, sir.
If you have a current articulation agreement and you want to amend it, where do you begin?
With me. Basically what you would do is just send it over to me, and I would get you in contact with, what community college was it that you have it with, do you know? Okay, great. And you'd get it to me, and I'd actually get Dr. Kubo into the loop here, and we would just get that amended and in the new format probably too, because if I had to guess, it was probably the old format.
The starting point is through admissions.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Or Steve, have you got something?
You can also go through, with
That
the
makes
ocean
sense,
stuff,
yeah.
because we're locally down there, either or is fine. John and I are.
Ocean's the curveball. Ocean, if it was anywhere else come to me. Ocean, he's, so that would work
But
out.
John and I
just-
are in contact frequently anyways, so.
Great. So that's 2 weeks on that. You work on your own or with the schools. Mapping questions. So like I said, a lot of those come up. You can talk to them, or if you're having troubles with the template itself or how to put it into the correct format, email myself and Dr. Kubo, and we can get you those answers. All right? And he's going to go over a lot of that today and clear up a lot of the general questions he's been getting. Once the draft is completed, send it over to me, and then we go on to the next step, which is our approval process. All right? So once you get it to me, I get it right over to Dr. Kubo, and he takes a look at it. He's got 2 weeks to make approvals. If there's any changes, or if the template is not exactly right, he needs a little more time on that, that's fine as well. So in general, Dr. Kubo signs off on it. That's the ideal. It happens quickly. He gets it over to Dr. Tony for his approval. All right? There's a 2-week deadline on that as well. Dr. Tony approves it within a couple weeks. It's approved internally, and they send it back to me in enrollment management. All right? So approval, and then back to me. Now, if you worked on this with the community college, a lot of that information is going to be on there anyway. We need their final approval. So I get that over to the community college. If they have any amendments or anything like that, we have to go back, not to the drawing board, just back for these little fine-tune situations, and then we're able to move forward. 9 times out of 10, once they pass your desk, once they pass Dr. Tony's desk, they're ready for approval by the community college. I remember there was one that was maybe 2 questions they had, and you gave them the right answers, and they said, okay, no changes needed, and we really just move forward from there. So no worries on that. So we have approval from Dr. Kubo, approval from Dr. Tony, approval from the community college, and we're ready for the signing ceremony. Signing ceremony, it comes back to us. through enrollment management, we schedule a signing ceremony with our presidents. All right. Sometimes there are these big things. We had one at Union County College on the right here. It was
Huge.
it was big. Yeah,
It was very big.
it was pretty nice. They were taking pictures, and it was like a big press conference. The Middlesex County College one on the left there was a little bit smaller. I was there, but just not in that picture. But that was about it, right? There's not many more people there.
No,
so a little bit
mostly
quieter.
administrators.
But it's a wide range of things. Okay, if we're doing a program with someone much further away, something like that, maybe we don't have a big signing ceremony. But maybe I'd go down and hand deliver it and get the signatures needed, and we'll just play middleman that way. But again, the signing ceremony, that's something to celebrate because this is a lot of hard work by faculty, a lot of hard work by their faculty and their deans to get through this process, okay? Good. And I'm going to swing this over to Dr. Cabot. He's the expert on this section.
Thank you very much. So, as John indicated, I'm part of the approval process. So even though I am formally Kane Ocean, Dr. Tony has designated me as his representative to do the initial review of a lot of the curriculum mappings and curriculum advisement sheets, et cetera, as we go forward. So, what we've put together basically to assist in this process, one of the things that we've started doing, we began it initially down at Kane Ocean, and now we're expanding it to all of our agreements, is to show specifically how the two-year degree fits seamlessly into the four-year degree. So the basis of the articulation, the basis of the guide sheet that we use is the union guide sheet. But what we like to do then is, as you can see how the templates are, we have one for BA, one for the BS. A little hard to read, but you can see that the columns are divided so that we're putting the equivalency course right next to our course. So the student will see, okay, if I'm coming from Union County College and I took ENG 101, that counts as ENG 1030. So I know specifically where it fits in, how it fits in. And so they have no questions as far as where the degree fits in, but also, more importantly, what's left. New Jersey Transfer, with the New Jersey Transfer laws, set up a website that has what are called RTP, Recommended Transfer Programs. Those are great because they show a lot of the articulation part of, if I take this course at the 2-year, how does it go to the 4-year, but it doesn't show what's left. And, you know, if I'm a student and I'm considering different institutions, well, how many courses do I still have to take yet? How much do I have to take my major? How much do I have to take other stuff? By doing it this way, we're giving them the complete picture. Here's how much at the top, up in here, you would put in how many credits are accepted, how many credits are still remaining at Kane. So they have a full picture. Okay, yeah, I'm getting 62 credits from Union County College. The degree is 124, so I'm taking 62 more at Kane. I know that's exactly what I need, and I know exactly these are the courses that are left. So not only does this serve, as John had said, as the articulation agreement, but it's something you can give out to students and they can use as an advisement sheet. And they have an idea coming in what they've done and what they need to do. Some tips in preparing this. Those templates that we have are available. John emails those out once they begin the process, as well as we also put together a tip sheet as to how to go ahead and fill them out. What we like to do is try to personalize them as close as possible, using the school colors of the sender institution if we can as well. For example, Union County College is a crimson red, so we try to use their courses in red to kind of personalize it for that school, and we use the blue, Kane blue, for our courses. When you're doing this, make sure though that whatever articulation you're doing is based on an approved program. We don't want to do the articulation for something that you're developing but hasn't gone through the curriculum process. If it's a new program, you want to wait until it has gone all the way through the formal approval process before you start the articulation. Okay, we can run into problems if something's not been approved because obviously things can change and then what you have worked out is no longer valid. So we want to make sure whatever you're doing is approved beforehand. And again, the basis for this is the Kane requirements and the Kane degree. So starting off with that, making sure all basically your guide sheet is copied over into this articulation sheet. The next thing though is then to make sure you have the current degree requirements from the 2-year institution, whether, as John said, with working with the partner there, they'll tell you what the degree requirements are. or going through their websites as well. And just to make sure that you know exactly what it is. So it's not just I'm taking these major courses, but what is the general education requirement at UCC? What do they have to take? How does that fit in with ours? What are do they have free electives, et cetera? Knowing their full, how many credits they are. And while the New Jersey transfer law covers AA and AS degrees, articulations can be any degree. You can have an Associate of Applied Science, an AAS degree, which is technically not considered a transferable degree, but in some cases, like in nursing, a lot of the nursing schools in New Jersey still have AAS degrees where they get the RN and they're expected to go out and work. We still can articulate those for the RN to BSN. So you can do any sort of degree with that. The added layer, though, with the Associate of Arts and Associate of Science degrees, again, because of the transfer law, the basic tenets of that are 50% of the receiver degree completion should be done. So what the law says is the student should come on with 50% of whatever the degree credits are. Since most of our degrees are 124, although we're working down towards 120, the student should come in with at least 62 credits if it's 124, 60 credits if it's 120. And the other important caveat, the general education requirements are considered completed at the two-year school, but with some exceptions. The two exceptions are basically if you have a GE course that is encumbered, meaning that we have, if you are, for example, a education major, an elementary education major, we say you have to take general psychology. You have to take sociology. You have to take either sociology or geography, depending on which option you do, early childhood. Then, especially if those courses are prerequisites for something later on, like general psychology is often a prerequisite for then taking child psych or adolescent or psych of learning or some of those other courses, you can still require them to take that if they haven't had it. So if the course is a prerequisite and they haven't taken it as part of their general education program, we can say, no, you still need to take that course with us because it's a prerequisite. The other exception is if it's a university graduation requirement. So a couple years ago, we instituted GE 3000, the transfer transition class, as a university graduation requirement. So even though it's part of general education, even though it's a GE 3000 class, it's a university requirement. Therefore, we say to the students, you have to take GE 3000. So those are the two exceptions. If it's a university requirement that we have for all students, and so essentially we say you're either taking GE 1000 or GE 3000, or it's a prerequisite they don't have. Any questions on that so far? Frank?
They often confused because when you click on evaluate program, it doesn't sync with the articulation agreements. And so when I tell them it's use the evaluate program to determine what courses you've taken, but use the degree guide to determine how you're progressing towards that degree. Is that correct?
You're saying when you're saying evaluate, you're saying through the NJ transfer site using the evaluate?
No, when they go on,
Or you're saying through CaneWise? Yes, it's not going to show their courses specifically in there, correct. It's going to show the Keene University only. Correct, and sometimes we do exceptions, overrides, waivers, substitutions to live up to the spirit of the law, which says we're taking in the 50% degree. So we will sometimes either waive or substitute, and if they haven't taken a world literature course but they're done with their general education, we will either substitute or waive the general education requirement for that course. Correct. Now, the other thing is, and that's one distinction I want to make, the important thing to keep in mind is the difference between course articulation and program articulation. A course articulation is designed as such as saying English 101, Composition 1 is equivalent to English 1030 at Keene. So we're establishing the link between the course. Program articulation, though, is saying we're looking at overall how your program fits into ours. And so we may have to make a substitution or a waiver in order to fully accept the credits and to meet our requirements, because oftentimes you will see our general education requirements don't necessarily match up with the two-year school's general education requirements. And within the two-year schools, as John can tell you, and Hudson County College may have a very different general education program, even though by state law they're supposed to have this many of this and this many of that. In practice, there are oftentimes subtle interpretation differences as to what it means and how they implement it. So it makes things a little bit more challenging from that aspect. So in the program articulation, you will sometimes see, oh, we put this course in, we put in an English course for a comm course. We're showing where the credits would transfer in so that they're not losing credits, and to make sure to tell them you don't have to take this class even though you didn't take it. And lastly, obviously do the ones that directly equate first. Typically everybody takes English Comp 1. Typically everybody takes a Comp 2 version, which is similar to our research and tech. Do those first and then look for what's left over. So do the easy ones first, see what's left over to try and fill it in to make sure that the general education is done from there. And then lastly, make sure to shoot for 50% of the degree, 100%, 50% of the Kane degree, and 100% articulation of those credits. Any questions on that part? Okay, just to give you a couple of examples of ones that we've done. This is for the BA in History at the AA in History at Union County College, transferring in to the BA in History at Keene University. And so as you can see, we tried to keep the branding of Union County College here. Basically coming in, they're going to be doing about 60 credits at Union County and 64 at Keene. Not exactly 50-50, but essentially that is their entire degree. Their associate's degree there is 61 credits. They have a freshman experience course that we no longer can transfer into. What we used to do is transfer those in for the GE 1000 requirement, but now since they take GE 3000, they don't. So that's as good as they're going to get because we took their whole degree. What you will also see is that the degree requirements vary from as low as 60 credits for an associate's degree to some cases as high as 68 credits for an associate's degree. So it varies from school to school and even from program to program. And again, we've put in the base history degree here and then the correlations with what the equivalent course is there. So the student has no question what that's going to be. Same thing we have here, the AS in Business Management transferring to the BS in Management Entrepreneurship option here at Keene. And again, notice we're trying to keep the Middlesex branding, the blue and green that they use. And again, we've mapped it out. Again, this being a BS degree, the general education requirements are less. So then you have typically less in the general education area, more in the major area that articulates. One of the more challenging situations is when you get a situation where you have an AS, for example, in criminal justice, and our degree is a BA degree in criminal justice. So that the AS degree has less general education credits, they come to Keene. The BA degree has more general education requirements. So it's when you don't have a direct degree match that you get many more of the substitutions in order to fulfill the requirements necessary. So those are probably the most challenging of all of them. And a third example, whoop, too far. Third example is, as I indicated, it's not just AA and AS degrees. This is our Keene Ocean nursing articulation, where we go from the AAS degree into the RN to BSN degree at Keene. So it's an Associates of Applied Science in Nursing. In this case, because of the nature of the articulation there, also you'll notice we've far exceeded the 50-50 credit. Sometimes that happens. In this case, we take 78 credits from Ocean County College, combined with them passing the NCLEX exam, which allows them to become an RN. So we've exceeded the 50-50 in this case. Nursing in particular, you'll often see, I'm sure Dr. Vallis can confirm, a lot of the schools are trying to take as many credits from the feeder institutions as possible, and it becomes very competitive to do. So we're not locked into 50-50, but obviously we don't want to give away the farm either, because we still have to have people taking our courses. We still want to generate tuition revenue. So while we want to be flexible to the students, we also don't want to do it in our detriment either, where now we have become a 3+1 like a Rowan Burlington County does. So it's a difficult balance to do. Use your professional discretion when you're doing that, and if you feel it will get the benefits of getting more students in by taking more credits to getting the 50-50, if that will work out better and you feel this will give us a competitive advantage and we will get more students coming to us than will be going to Rutgers or to Montclair or to Stockton or wherever, if you can legitimately argue this is in the best interest of the university to do it, we don't have to necessarily stick to the 50-50. The transfer law says the minimums, the articulations specify what it actually is, and it can exceed the minimums, although, as I said, we don't want it to become too routine of a practice. So, John, anything you want to add? Any questions at this point? Yes and no.
For an associate's degree, you get the 78 credits in that nursing program. Is that
Basically, their associate's degree actually takes them a little bit longer. And we're actually taking, the way the articulation is designed, they get 30 credits for passing the NCLEX exam because we don't transfer any of their nursing courses. So technically the 30 credits aren't coming directly from OCC. We take 42 credits from their associate's degree. We take 30 credits when they pass the NCLEX because we don't offer the lower division nursing classes. So that's how that one works out. So it's, technically we're only taking 42, but it looks like 78.
okay? And then like a Brookdale where they actually offer the associate's degree to get to a foreign camp.
Yes.
How would that work?
That's the same thing with Ocean County College. Our,
Is an RN option for that 2 years?
yes, it is. Most of the nursing schools are now RN options at the 2-year schools. And our program is exclusively an RN to BSN, so we don't take in students without an RN.
Right, so you can take even Brookdale if they wanted to get there.
Absolutely. Down at Cane Ocean, Brookdale is our second largest feeder after OCC.
And like, say at Brookdale, you would need 2 to 3 years to get in there or into the program. Does Ocean County have that same?
They do, yes. It's getting a little bit better. They're building a new health sciences building that's going to help ameliorate that. And what we have done to help facilitate the process is we allow them to take some of the non-nursing courses if they're on the waiting list. They can take some of the like lifespan psychology, philosophy of the medical ethics course while they're waiting so that they're not taking stuff they don't need and they're making progress towards the bachelor's degree. And then we also have designated nursing courses that once they finish nursing 1 and 2 at Ocean County College during that summer, they can take a couple of nursing courses with us so that they're accelerating their process towards the BSN.
Just 2 things. Number one, I think that we are at a very good advantage with taking those more credits at Ocean because our students that graduate with their undergraduate degree often go on for their graduate degree at Cane Ocean. And I think that that's a good feature for us right there. I think that that works well. And have we ever considered having any room or space in Brookdale for courses?
Keene has not always been the most welcome institution at Brookdale. The reason being, before Cane Ocean started, there was Brookdale started Communiversity. Keene was part of Communiversity. And for those of you who don't know, Communiversity was sort of like a Cane Ocean agreement with a bunch of different schools where you could come on the Brookdale campus or in their Wall campus and you could take classes to finish your bachelor's degree, but you may take a class from Keene, you may take a class from NJIT, and piece it all together and get a bachelor's degree. For Keene, it got kind of cumbersome, and once we started Cane Ocean, we no longer saw the need to participate in Communiversity, and Brookdale saw Cane Ocean as a direct threat to Communiversity, so there was some ill will, so we weren't allowed to recruit on Brookdale's campus for a number of years. subsequent. So we have tried to bend some of those fences, but it takes some time. But yeah, it was because we really, a lot of students were considering Communiversity, especially the ones who wanted education, suddenly came over to Kane Ocean. And that caused a lot of ill will. But yes, I know we are looking at, John can tell you some of the schools where we are considering offering classes on.
Yeah, and even jumping on with Brookdale, it's funny because I think some people still might, I don't know, it's called a chip on their shoulder about it, but it's not working right now. But I had a conversation with their transfer counselor that they want to set up these agreements with us for specific programs. I don't know if they ran that up the flagpole yet, but there are a few programs that they would like to articulate with us. How far that can move along, I'm not really sure.
But there's been a change in administration at Brookdale, and so with that change, the person who started Communiversity is no longer the president there. Mm-hmm. There's been a change in the leadership. So with time, I think we're going to be able to start opening those doors again, but it's taken a little bit of time. Yeah. Frank.
Just one more. Would it be a good idea to allow community college students in the last semester of their sophomore year to take the G3000 then before they come?
We've talked about doing different things like that. It's possible, even to the situation of where we see a lot of times a student needs only 2 classes to finish their associate's degree, and they want to go full-time so they can get financial aid, the full benefits of financial aid. Situations like that, yes. And in fact, with Ocean, we've even talked about developing special sections of their class, their freshman experience class, linking it up with the objectives in ours and doing it early, and maybe even having to start the summer before they come in or something like that. So we're looking at some of those different options, absolutely.
And just to jump in also, the template for the agreement section of the articulation agreement that we're talking about, we always have the approved template has one of the stipulations is, I forget the exact wording of it, but it says students are allowed to, with permission, take classes at Kane University in their last semester or as they approach graduation from the community college. And three of the last 3 community colleges said, take that out, John. I don't want it, because they're getting ranked on their 2-year graduation rates, and they want to make sure no one's leaving early to start at Kane. So that's where this, I don't want to call it political, but there's that line of saying they're working on their numbers and so are we. So we got to make sure that we walk that line. We really tried to word it in a way that said, look, we're not stealing them. They can just take a class or 2 here. And even then, they push back on that. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's a fine line. And as you know, Frank, having worked at both, it's a fine line. You don't want to take too much away from them, but you also don't want to hurt us, and you want to do what's in our best interest at the same time. It's a balancing act. Hi. Mm-hmm.
And it works very well, but one of the things we're seeing now is all the community colleges are reaching out, they're all wanting to join articulation agreement, and the competition is there. So what we're seeing now is a decline in the role of a very successful program. So Thomas Edison is sitting at the table offering a better deal. And even though our articulation agreement says we're the only on-site nursing program, they don't have to be on-site, they would still offer the better deal. So I guess that's another whole issue, the fact that when you get there, you have to be together. And I think it's all about the number of credits and what, you know.
Absolutely.
And so, that's another ongoing process of looking at it, reviewing it.
Yeah, and I think that's where John, saying it's a living document, that's exactly what we mean. We need to re-examine these. We need to, as I said, we may have to go beyond the 50% if we're going to be competitive in some of these highly competitive, like nursing. But.
And like I said, there's a presence of 4-year schools, a lot of community colleges now. As you said, Thomas Edison is there, and I mentioned East Stroudsburg and those types of programs or schools. In addition, we're trying to match that aggressiveness in recruiting also. At the 2 that we just signed, they're my go-to examples, is Union County College in Middlesex. We're going to have office hours there Monday through Friday. We're going to have instant decisions available every day. We're going to have evaluations available so students can come and get their evaluation done. We're working on the details of that one right now. Christina gave me a dirty look. But evaluations, we're going to have the ability just to have advice or information about Kane University just readily available at those community colleges with signage. So when you walk in, you see you're in the student center or whatever it is, and there's Kane University. So it's kind of understood that this is a place you can transfer to. So we're trying to get creative with it too. So we're welcome to ideas and anything we can do to help grow this.
Absolutely. And even,
Yeah. Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yep.
And even at Ocean County College, they have NGIT is present and offering degrees there. Fairleigh Dickinson is there present offering degrees. We have competition from them as well. The nice thing about our agreement, OCC, is they will give us basically first dibs on anything. So if we have the program and we're willing to do it, then they won't offer to another partner. But if we don't have, like hospitality management, we don't have, Fairleigh Dickinson has a very successful program. Ocean County has a lot of tourism, so hospitality management is a viable major down there. Fairleigh Dickinson is offering hospitality management down there. We don't have engineering. NGIT is offering electrical engineering, et cetera, on the campus there. So it's a very, very, as John said, it's a very competitive market, and people realize this population of students is not really expanding, so we need to get more and more creative.
In terms of creativity, what about innovations in terms of progressive educational models?
In what sense are you?
Western University, open schools, open curricula, things like that. I mean, something that really sets us apart from the norm in New Jersey.
We're looking at a variety of things. We're open to everything. We haven't gone quite that progressive yet, but we are trying to, and I know a lot of things we're doing, things like Keen Online, where we're doing the online degree completions, we've really tried to establish ourselves as a niche there. So instead of doing a full 4-year online degree, do a 2-year degree completion online. So we're looking at some of those things, but we haven't gone quite that far yet. Not to say that we won't, but we haven't gotten there yet. Any other questions on the articulation? I know it's a thrilling topic, but.
Question. And I know we're focused on community college integration, where you can from a graduate perspective. Do we have considerations around how we can partner with? And I like the slide where you listed neighboring states that are coming into our state. So can we maybe take the conference and go into those states and look for schools where there are baccalaureate degree programs only offered, right?
Mhm.
And those students are desirous of an advanced degree, i.e. a graduate degree in, let's say, the Bachelor's of Social Work. And the reason I say that is other than my colleagues in the program, which speak about social work, maybe other disciplines, a student holding an undergraduate degree in social work can earn their master's in 1 year. And so we would be probably the leaders in the country in having a national focus on articulation agreement in the rural states or rural communities where they have baccalaureate and associate degree programs only. And those students may have interest in pursuit of a Kane world-class education, but they may not be as familiar with those in the state.
Absolutely. You know, I think one of the things we haven't even done enough of is tied the undergraduate as a feeder into the graduate. And you know, as Susan said, as we can use these articulations to feed into our graduate programs, and perhaps we can go more into that. And even as Telvis is saying, using an online maybe social work program, master's in social work, where you can reach out and do some of these things really. Because we have the infrastructure there, we can definitely do that.
And you were just telling me just the other day on the phone was you were doing one with
Morgan
HBCU.
State.
Morgan State, doing an articulation agreement. There's probably more complication to that, and not exactly what he was just talking
that's
about.
a little more complicated, but yeah.
Anything's possible. If we can build a partnership, I always say, and this is just kind of my go-to statement for recruitment in general. We don't want to recruit individual students all the time because we'll exhaust ourselves and we'll need thousands of employees to do that. If we can recruit referral sources and take care of their students once they send them to us, that's going to secure our spot as an elite university. So if we're taking care of these community colleges and building these agreements and students are transferring in smoothly and graduating with their bachelor's degree, that is how we recruit more students every single year, year over year, and more qualified and better students. All right? So that's what we want to do. I'm sorry?
Mostly what we're talking about is at the undergraduate level, but nothing says we cannot expand beyond there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good. Any other questions? Oh. You mean, have we looked internally at Kane to see which group has performed better? Not specifically, no. The one fly in the ointment, if you will, if they're coming to us and they've already graduated from a school, they've already been vetted. So we're getting essentially their cream of the crop when they come to us. Whereas with our freshmen, you have the attrition rate of people who are coming in and then wash out. So some of the, especially those of you who went to the opening keynote address, those early gateway courses were taken at the two-year school, and those students have already gotten out. So when we get them as transfer students, they've already made it through all those gateway courses, and now they're coming to us. So I say that with a little caveat because the students who graduate have already graduated once at a two-year school tend to be able to graduate from a four-year school because they've already proven they can graduate. So it's got an inherent bias built in already. So it's not directly, I would not want to say, oh, the transfer students perform at a 75% better rate than the freshmen do. I wouldn't want to get into that because it's a bias built in. They've already succeeded, they've already graduated, they've already made it through those gateway courses and have already completed it. So it's something you have to take very carefully.
And you could drill down on those statistics as well. Students that receive one of our scholarships, what is their graduation rate as opposed to students that didn't receive scholarships? Or two-year degrees, student got a two-year degree in 2 years, or a student that got a two-year degree over the course of 15 years. I bet those statistics are a little skewed as well. So there's a lot of things that we'd have to consider when drilling down into that, which I'm sure is available somehow, some way, but we don't have those.
But nationally, a lot of those studies are underway.
The reason I asked the question is because there was a discussion about the faculties that hired as screening colleagues and the faculty of university school colleagues. Is there a reason for the quality of the faculty themselves? And there is a question about impacts the way students learn. So this question came up as part of salary negotiations in faculty state and this issue came up. I don't think we are now. I thought we could look at this issue and help us clarify the reasons.
I think there's a lot, county college faculties are a lot different than maybe 20 or 30 years ago where they were always, in some sense, in the academic sense, considered second-class citizens. You're getting a lot more of the county college faculties have terminal degrees, a lot more of the county college faculty have come from R1 institutions. So I think that large-scale difference between the traditional four-year and R1 schools versus the two-year schools is not what it used to be. It's a lot blurrier than it was. I think you're getting a lot higher caliber faculty at the two-year schools these days. So I think that would also, would not be as dramatic as if you would have done that comparison, say, 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Any other questions then? If not, we want to thank you very much. This is our contact information. If you do have any questions about the articulation process at any time, it is not everybody's favorite subject, but John and I both enjoy doing it, so we're more than happy to talk at any time. Thank you.
Thank you.